everybody, and welcome back. In this video, I had my first race with the HB Racing D2 Evo, and I wanted to explain the setup changes I made and what happened and how I liked it and everything. So I'm going to make this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and change around to the GoPro POV view, and we'll talk about the changes I made and hopefully help you get a good start on yours. And stay tuned. Here we go. Okay, so here we go. We got my D2 Evo fresh off the race from Columbus, Georgia at Hobbytown. I'm going to talk about the changes I made. So I started off, I know I've mentioned before, I started off with a stock setup with the gear diff. And this race, I had a disaster and hooked the battery up backwards, set the car on fire. That's a long story. I'll be talking about that in another video. But as far as the changes I made, I started off with the car on silver smoothies, because that's what I was told would work. Just pretty much slicks. Everything slicks on this track. It's like the track is like Play-Doh, and it's super high grip. Well, the track was green, so it was new, and the grip had not come in yet. So when we got there, it was just loose as could be. And Sean kept telling me just to hang in there, don't make any changes to the car yet, just get some track time, because around 6 o'clock in the evening, it'll start to come around, start to get its groove, and it'll be good for the rest of the race. So, and he was right. It was exactly what he said it would be. So in the meantime, Chris Van Air messages me and starts giving me some tips that he had worked with Cole Ogden and Ryan Pavitas on theirs, and he had some tips for me. So, and he had ran this track several times, and I had not run two-wheel drive in a long time. So his first suggestion was skip the silvers and use aqua or green. I said, well, I got some green ellipses, and I can go buy some green ellipses in the hobby shop, so that's what I stuck with. So I sanded down some green ellipse fronts and rears where I had to sand them a little bit, and bought some SCT Baja sauce. That's what they had, tire sauce, and was doing that. So once I did that, the car was crazy fast, but had traction roll issues. So his first thing was glue the sidewall. Now this one, it looks like hell when you do this, and this one hadn't been cleaned good. The water, they had a leak and they had to cut the water off, so this was like dumped in a dirty bucket and wiped off. But a lot of that is the glue and the dirt sticking to it. This is after having to re-glue it all day. First, I glued the sidewall about halfway up, and it calmed the car down a lot. It had way too much steering and was real grabby, and that calmed it down. I showed that to Chris, and he said go all the way up. So I did. It made it better. So now the car was really, really good, but had traction roll issues. Like in the slow corners, it would just like flip over and want to go up on two wheels and stuff. So he told me go up higher on it. So that's when I went up all the way up to the tread, which would normally be a line in the tire. And that was the biggest difference all day. I think that was crucial to have a tire that's had this much grip, and it wants to grab and bite too much. So this gives it just enough stability. It looks ugly. I hate the way it looks, but you put the tire glue on the edge. I used medium J Concepts and use a glue accelerator. It turns this glazed look. It looks terrible, but now it's usually shiny, not covered in dirt like it was. This is after several races. These tires are done. And the rears, you can tell they got a good bit of wear too. This car had incredible grip. So next thing we did was going to try. I tried laying the shocks down in the rear. I thought it would be a risk before he started making suggestions. You notice some of my diff is out of it right now, but I tried lowering the links, tried moving the shocks in. That didn't help. Chris has said, where have you got the front spindles? And I got them in the stock setting, which is a thicker one on the bottom and the thinner one on the top. But I didn't really make any changes to that. Other than that, it's pretty much stock setting. So I did use the ball diff, the gear diff, and liked it. Some people have been having problems with the outdrive popping out, so I bought the shims that people are suggesting to do that, but I felt too much resistance in it, and I put it back. Kind of didn't like it. The resistance it had, kind of like a little friction in there. It's kind of in a bind, so I didn't like it. So I took it back out, and it lasted all day until the end. After I had my disaster fire, the only motor I had to put back in the car was a 5.5. I had a 7.5 in it and tore it up. So I put my 5.5 in, it was too much, and when I put it back on the track, still had it 100% just to get it running. I tried gassing it one time and ripped pop the outdrive out. It's too much. It was too much for it, I guess. So I borrowed a ball diff and put that in there, and I think I liked the gear diff better on the high bite. It seemed to be a little more aggressive, and I don't know how to explain it, but it was more responsive on the high grip, and I think I liked it better. But there was no turning back at that point. I had to keep using the ball diff, so it was okay. It was pretty good, but that's something we'll test another day. So the next changes he suggested was, he asked me about the rear hub height and the diff height. So we changed the rear hub height, raised it all the way. So I think it's 2 dot. The peels are 2 dots up, which raises the hub as far as it'll go. And we also put 2 dots down on the differential, which raises the differential up. And that did it. That took away my my traction roll problem, and it was good to go. This was on the second qualifier where I did this, and the car was flawless and easy to drive. I could run it pretty punched I had that 5.5 in there, so it had to be pretty easy. Had it down to, also turned it down to 70% EPA to calm it down. But the car was so easy to drive and predictable and incredible grip. It was pretty fast. There was a couple of guys that were faster on another level than us, so I was a solid third, fourth place car. I think I finished third one heat and fourth one heat. I was pretty happy with it. In the main, car was really good and even faster. I warmed the tires up a little more, and was very happy with it. It was still easy to drive, but I made a bunch of dumb mistakes. I was in a battle for third, fourth, and fifth with all the local guys, David Sawyer and Devon Bearer, Jason Westfall. We were all right there together, and I held third and fourth for a long time and made several bad mistakes at the end, and it wound up 6th. But overall, I was very happy with it. The cars, I haven't run two-wheel drive in a long time. If you have any more questions, just feel free to ask. The setup is pretty much the book setup, with the exception of I changed to the ball diff out of necessity. I preferred the gear diff, if I'm honest. I raised the diff height as high as I get it, and raised the rear hub height high as I can get it, and that was it. Now in the main, the traction roll was trying to come back. It did it maybe once or twice, and it would go up on 2 tires. I believe it was probably not the exact right tire combination. From what I understand, the aqua tires might be a better choice in that situation. Green might have just been a little too aggressive, but the silvers for me were too loose. It just didn't have enough grip. I could have worked on it and made the car get a little more mechanical grip and use those tires, but this seemed to be the best bet. And I was using advice from Chris Van Air, and he knows what he's doing, and was a big help. So a big shout out to Chris Van Air for the help, just via text. He was sending the pictures, and he was giving me advice back and forth. But so far for me, the car is really good. I'm very impressed, and I look forward to trying some more stuff. I got to start buying some spare parts. I got to tear it down and clean it up, because some of the stuff that was on fire, there's corrosion from the fire extinguisher in places and stuff that it shouldn't be. So we'll get it all cleaned up and try it again next time. We'll get some more testing done. So stay tuned. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and we'll see you next time.